Thank you everybody so much for joining. How's everybody feeling? Okay, that's great. I'm so excited to be here. Warrior Love Productions, for anybody who does not know, is a Web3 studio and marketing firm, and all of our clients work at the intersection of technology and social impact. When we talked to our good friend Jordan French, we could not pass up the opportunity to produce at least 80 to 90% of a day of programming that would celebrate women of Web3 like these two women and the three that were just on, all the exciting NFT projects that are happening, the opportunity to facilitate wealth creation and to really have an impact in communities. So thank you for joining us. One quick announcement: we are recruiting. My company is looking for junior publicists and writers. So I wanted to make sure that I announce that before I close out the day, because we really need to start recruiting. So I wanted to just start resetting the room with that. But back to the main reason that we're here is to put a spotlight on creators in Web3 who are really cultivating solidarity and social movements and harnessing NFTs to have an impact in their communities. I first met Maliha, the creator of Women Rise. I mean, it wasn't even 2 months ago, which is like 3 years in NFT world. The Women Rise NFT was the first NFT that I bought, and it was leading up to then that I started to understand the pace and the magnitude and the vortex that is the NFT community. And Women Rise was definitely one of the most welcoming communities. Women Rise, that you recently forged a partnership with Snap. You've got all kinds of amazing plans for the metaverse, a beautiful vision, including the multifaceted NFTs that Maliha's been creating. Gina, or GD Anderson, is the creator of Honey Badges, as Doc P said, and came across her project when somebody on my team said, "Have you heard of this Honey Badges thing? It's all about activism. It's kind of funny and kitschy, and their humor and their tone moves really fast, and it's really captivating." And so I reached out to her and I said, "I have to meet you. Please come speak on my panel. Come all the way from Australia to be in Austin." All the way from down under. Thank you both so much for being here. And the two of you have been talking for quite a long time online. You finally got to meet in person. I get to meet in person. So I guess I'd like to start with just asking both of you, why NFTs? You obviously have both been activists before you got into Web3. Why NFTs to drive your causes forward?
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you so much, Melissa, for bringing us all together. It's so wonderful to see your NFT community and your NFT friends in real life. Meeting Kelsey, meeting Dog Peace looking like an absolute superstar, meeting Gina, and yeah, it's just so incredible, and meeting so many other people, Bailey. So yeah, just it doesn't, one thing I really want to start by saying is that whoever here is thinking about entering the world of Web3 or NFTs, it's not like the usual Instagram, TikTok, Twitter experience. It's very much even though I'm meeting so many people for the first time at South by Southwest who I've known for months on the internet, it doesn't feel that way. So the community experience of Web3 is super, super in real life experience. And yeah, so and to answer your question, why NFTs or why, Web3 to further the work that, I've been doing for the past 10 years. Well, because with Web 2, I saw an opportunity. I started kind of really using Facebook and Instagram when I immigrated from Pakistan. And that to me was a very exciting time, even though for a lot of people, Web 2 at the time had become kind of normal. And for me, it was oh my God, I don't have to buy the $2 calling card to call back Pakistan, and I can just chat with people on Facebook. And, so that was kind of for me, a very exciting time. And then when I was going through a really tough time of, just kind of seeing things in the community, or just United States have a lot of great things to offer, but at the same time, there's so many things that we need to work on and improve, especially for communities of color. And when I started noticing those, art was, again, my way of coping with it and processing it and sharing it with others. So it comes super naturally to me that using the latest technology we have to talk about these things and to make sure that we're campaigning, because that's something that I've been doing since I was a teenager.
So when I came across Web3, NFTs were my gateway. Before that, I couldn't care less about crypto. I just had this like mental barrier as well. But I think it's like almost like a state of emergency if we need to get more women and more people of color and people from around the world into this space, because we don't really want to repeat the mistakes of Web 1 and Web 2, because we still haven't been able to fix them, even though Web 2 has been around for like 20 years. With the rates, like with the statistics about VC funding and how much of it goes to women, even less to women of color. So, just like having these ongoing conversations, it's almost like a state of emergency that we need more representation and true representation from around the world in Web3.
Hell yeah. And I got into NFTs a little bit differently. I actually was in crypto, which is very unlike me. So like I was trying to be like an investor. Amazing. And then I suddenly realized with my work running the COVA project, which is a non-profit that I've run for many years that provides menstrual health supplies to girls all around the world to keep them in school and, participating in life full time. With COVID, events stopped happening. So we had to find an alternative source of revenue to keep our projects going. And we immediately were like, NFTs, what a rogue thing to do. So we partnered with a bunch of artists. We've always had art at like the core of what we do at the COVA project. So it felt like a natural progression that potentially could come off, and it did. And then suddenly I was thrown into the 24/7 world of NFTs that never ends and sleeps for, it's an optional extra.
And you just minted on March 8th, International Women's Day.
Yeah.
How did that go?
So we minted, my project Honey Badgers, which is a complete kind of like flip on the COVA project as a traditional charity. Honey Badgers is a Web3 decentralized take on social impact. So it's truly going to be a funding arm run by a DAO, a community wallet that will literally, be funding people who would not usually fit traditional grant making mechanisms or wouldn't traditionally have access to scholarship opportunities. So we wanted to be this arm where anyone who's trying to make the world a better place can come to us and we can help them out with a little bit of funding just to get them on their journey, scale up their impact. There are so many amazing change makers around the world already doing this work. I encounter them on a daily basis with my work at the COVA project, and there's nothing we can do because we have to stay within the bounds of what it is to be a registered charity. So we created Honey Badgers in the image of the fearless honey badger, which is just a grizzly little short-legged creature with a bad attitude, but like super resilient, super badass. We all love them. And yeah, we minted on International Women's Day, which was like, it's 6 years ago, but also 4 days ago. And yeah, we're kind of this slow burn as we revolutionize philanthropy through NFTs, following in the footsteps of our sisters who've done it before, like Women Rise.
And I just want to quickly add that I'm a huge fan of Gina. Like, we connected, I think, during my first week in Web3. And Gina, like, has been, I've been so inspired by the kind of activist she is. And I absolutely love the Honey Badgers project and just everything about it. So even if you are not into NFTs and, like, you're not in Web3, I would really, really love everybody to go on Twitter and check out Honey Badgers because it's an exceptional project, and I'm honestly like really proud to know Gina and meet her, and yeah, a super fan here.
That is like completely back at you, but with like a tidal wave of emotion.
Can you both tell us a little bit about the utility of the NFTs and how you allocate funding and resources to support other organizations?
Sure. So utility is my least favorite word in the world because I feel like it gets used by crypto bros with like an angry expression when utility. But utility is also very important. So our utility is really that when you buy a Honey Badger, you are buying like a membership to being a part of our DAO, to being a voting member on who's going to receive funding, to being truly like a part of the community. So we charge 150 USD roughly per Honey Badger. I think Solana's down, so on sale. But and it's the same thing as if you bought a ticket to a fundraising gala. You're showing up, you're participating in the event. It's just our one never ends potentially, so you get to hang out, and we have great brunch recommendations in our Discord and all sorts of fun things that come with it. But the way that we are going to be distributing our funding is that we'll have DAO leadership. They will be vetting projects. Anyone can put in an application. Our website is open, so if anyone has a brilliant idea to change the world, just go to our website, apply for a grant. Our DAO leadership will come into play in about a week and a half. And then they will be capable of vetting those projects, and the ones that pass the vetting process, so it's not going to, Jim in his basement who's pretending to be some amazing activist in Nigeria. The ones that pass those vetting processes will be put to the DAO, and the DAO will be able to decide where that funding goes. And so it's going to be a really interactive kind of monthly activity where you get to show up and you get to have a really kind of significant impact just by being a part of a really cool community.
Yeah, I love that. Amazing. So, one thing like about utility is like basically what does that mean? It basically means like what advantages do you get if I buy your NFT, right? So I think that one of the basic things, no matter what project you're buying into, regardless of their mission, regardless of their core values, I mean, Honey Badges is one of the best projects because you're not just getting an NFT, you're getting, you're creating social impact, and you're contributing to so many lives. But I think one of the basic things that with NFTs is like, again, this is for anybody who's like, thinking about this space, that with the project and with the project's profile going up, the price of your NFT goes up. So even if the project is, let's say, again, doesn't matter what they're doing, one of the basic utilities of NFTs are that it's like buying a stock or a share of a company and then holding it because it's going up in price, right? So with Women Rise, we are that, just like every other NFT, but we have kind of divided our project into two pieces. One is the social justice side of it, which actually started the entire thing, which is, like an extension of the work that I've been doing for the past 10 years with women's rights and girls' education. And I have a background in working with global organizations, and companies such as like Adobe, the New York Times, UN, UNHCR, Google, and all for campaigning for social justice and women's rights and girls' education. So with Women Rise, we have divided our project and organization into two. And one is the social justice side of things, where we are contributing to girls' education, where our ultimate goal is to build the first school in the metaverse for the 258 million children who are currently out of school. We have already contributed to 4 organizations that are focused on girls' education, period poverty, Afghan girls' education, and changing the culture that stands in the way of women and girls. And then the other side of it, yeah, he likes that one.
Yes, for girls' education.
See? So with the second side of it is the business partnerships and the collaborations, because one thing I really want to emphasize about Women Rise is that it's not just focused on social justice. So, it's sort of like trying to set an example that, yeah, you can be a successful business while creating social impact. So other side of is the business side, where we have partnerships with Coinbase, Ledger, Snapchat, and Meta, and like so many different companies and collaborations that we are working on. And that's again to serve our community and our holders, because let's say if tomorrow they want to sell their NFT, I want them to get, and my team wants them to get something out of it so that they're a step closer.
Again, yeah, sell your NFTs. Don't sell them.
So, get something like profit out of it, and get a bit closer to financial independence, because great things are happening through NFTs, and financial independence in itself is a form of social justice. So, yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to get both of your opinions on something that you touched on a few minutes ago, which was we don't want to simply replicate in Web3 the problems that have already existed in Web2 and Web1 and everywhere else in the world. In addition to making sure that we push diversity and inclusion and representation forward, what are some guidelines or standards or stipulations, visions that you would like to see people that are building platforms in NFT do or uphold to prevent the replication from happening? I mean, it already is kind of happening just by virtue of us being in the world. So what can we do? We're still early enough, though, that it doesn't need to snowball into a total disaster.
I don't know if standards is something that will be readily accepted. In Australia, we try to put quotas in place to make sure that women hold, directors' roles and roles in politics and stuff like that. And everyone always has a panic attack when in reality it's probably a great way to kind of even the scale for a quick go, and then, people hire themselves. So we might see that continue. I just want to see more projects that really care about diversity, like genuinely care about it. Don't just say the word. One of our things is we launched on Solana instead of Ethereum. And that was all about, for me, bringing women onto Solana, increasing cross-chain literacy for women, making sure that, the projects that I was on Solana, I was one of 5 girls in a community of 5,000 men. It was like, ooh, this is exciting. So I was like, we've got to increase this. We've got to do something here. And so that was a really big motivator for me. And then on top of that, we have this incredible, kind of ETH native community that's come across to Sol, but within that we don't have a whole heap of diverse voices either. So the whole reason why we want to onboard change makers and fund change makers through Honey Badgers is also to bring in people from all over the world who wouldn't otherwise have access or onboarding packs or clear instructions of how they can utilize crypto and NFTs to create like generational wealth and get themselves out of situations that are causing them strife. So we really want to have a community where when we reach out and we say, where are you from? It's not just like the US and Australia. Like we know what our stats are. We know where everyone comes from. We would love to have a situation where I can reach out and say, where's everybody from? And I can have a bunch of people who I work with from Liberia be like, Liberia, and we're all just like fabulous. So that's definitely something I hold near and dear to us. And I hope that future projects coming through, especially projects with massive financial gains on the cards, we see them come through and they've got all the hype and it's just like, this project's going to 15 ETH immediately after mint. Like, if you know you're going to go there, maybe like take a couple of people with you. Like, it's not that hard to do. So I would love to see that.
Yeah. Sorry, I do want to ask Gina one thing. Can you like share a little bit about your real story? Because we touched on diversity and we touched on like the potential this space has to creating like change for so many people. I just want to, so Gabriella is like an amazing, creatives, and I want to like hear a little bit about her.
Yeah, so when I created the project, one of the people who was really on my mind was a friend of mine, Gabriella Amini. She's a Congolese activist. She's like a legend. She worked for me in Uganda at Nachi Valley Refugee Settlement as a project leader for the COVA project, and she was this incredible change maker who was literally changing the lives of thousands of girls, an unbelievable spirit, and then was resettled in Stockholm, Sweden last year. And that was like a very jarring thing that happened, because she went from being this community leader who was badass and unstoppable and wrote books about how women can take care of their personal hygiene in a refugee settlement, and was learning how to create soy milk and hand soap, and like such a legend, to being in Stockholm and everyone in the Swedish government being like, welcome to Sweden, you're welcome that you're here, here's your empty apartment which you'll now live in, and you have 2 years to learn Swedish, and then you can go and work a minimum wage job to take care of your family. Thank you so much. Welcome. And while that's like a wonderful gift that she got to move to Sweden, like that just swipes her out at the knees with everything she was meant to contribute to the world. And she's a writer and a poet. She was going to bring so much to it. So when we created this project, I wanted her factored into the mint revenue. So she gets 2.5% of all mint revenue for the purpose of funding her book, which is going to be her life story, which she's never really openly shared. And it's quite a story. and also having within there, you know, advice for women who are going through the same process that she is, being completely displaced, you know, welcome to this new life and this new world, and how do you actually handle that and assimilate without it being this like, yes, assimilation, welcome to Sweden, you're great in the cold now, and being instead like, how do you be the leader that you were always meant to be in this new setting as well? So very excited for Gabby. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry, I completely forgot what you asked, Melissa. after
Maliha's too
hearing-
busy. I was asking about diversity and
Boosting off.
inclusion representation.
No, definitely,
But I have a
like,
different
yeah.
question, because this was something that you shared with me before, that I included in the Rolling Stone article, was something that a vision that you have for the metaverse in Women Rise. Can you share that? Can you publicly disclose that now?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I love reading your Rolling Stone article because, you know, I think a lot of people were on a similar journey where they were like so skeptical about this space, and then you just shared your journey about like, you know, how you're like.
For
really,
context, for anybody that my poor team has heard me talk about this ever since it happened, which was in December. I went to Art Basel in Miami, and I was there to kind of scope out the scene for an NFT project that I was becoming a part of, but I didn't really know that much about NFTs at the time. I didn't understand it. I was there. I just saw a lot of Bored Apes on the sides of trucks. There was a lot of yacht parties, a lot of exclusivity everywhere, a lot of like pixelated rocks on the sides and monitors. I just didn't understand the value or what was going on, other than people just creating clubs that were already exclusive, just making them more exclusive. So I didn't get it. And then I went to a panel, thanks to Lisa, who's here somewhere, that Visionaire, who's going to be on stage in a little bit, was part of organizing. It was a panel of Black NFT creators, and hearing their stories and about how NFTs were really enabling them to break generational curses in many ways was the first nugget of, okay, there's something here. And then I bought my first NFT, which was a Women Rise NFT, and then the floodgates just opened, and now I'm in this vortex of Web3 and I can't get out. And I'm on Twitter Spaces 3 times a day. But Maliha's project really struck me because of what she does for, what is the fund? Girls? No, girls, but it was Malala Fund, the Malala Fund. And shortly after we talked, you were talking about some ideas that you've got for the metaverse.
Yeah, so with the metaverse, I feel like there's so many different possibilities with it, but our vision really is to make sure. So I'm originally from Pakistan. This project was founded by 3 Pakistanis, very family-run business. So it's me, my husband, and my cousin. So that's how it started. And then we all are from Pakistan, and like we're like, as much as I love my country, and there's so much like, you know, beauty in its history and heritage, but there is this huge problem of children's education. We're one of the top countries where children are out of school. So it's something that's very close to our heart. And so we're working on, again, this is like one of the ultimate goals we have at Women Rise, to build the first school in the metaverse for the marginalized communities. So to clarify, it's not a school where we'll be charging a fee and like capitalizing on already like broken system of education that we have around the world, like including the US. So it's literally for the students who have never had access to education due to maybe they don't have a school building in their town or village or wherever they are. Maybe they don't have finance, like enough money to get an education, or in many cases, especially for girls, it's just the culture getting in the way, and the values as well. I mean, even with period poverty, because of the lack of resources, any person who's menstruating is not getting an education for 7 to 12, depending on your cycle. So it's like these are the kind of barriers that are getting in the way of education, like basic human right education. And so that's where our vision for the metaverse comes in, inspired by, unfortunately, millions and millions of children who are currently out of school. And a big trigger for us was what happened in Afghanistan, and an entire generation that had no idea of what life under Taliban was like, especially for women and girls, had no access to education all of a sudden. It has been more than 170 days now. So school in the metaverse, free education, phased approach, that's what we're working on at the moment.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Heck yeah.
want to take questions? Maybe one question? Yeah, sure. I'd like to provide time for at least one or two questions, and then we'll need to move on. Does anybody in the audience have a question for these ladies? Anybody? No? No? Yes.
I just have a quick little statement. I invested in Women Rise. If you guys want to know anything about how you can financially become independent or how this is going to help women all over the world become financially independent, my portfolio is 10x since I bought it. So that's all due to Maliha and her business partnerships that she's creating. And it's really amazing for women to finally feel like we can have.
I made more money off Women Rise than I did off my salary last year.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
I just have one question for each of you before we go to the next panel. For anyone out there that you might meet at a dinner party or on the street who just is confused about Web3, they don't really trust crypto, they're skeptical, they don't really get NFTs, kind of like how I didn't a few months ago, what do you say to them to instigate some hope or curiosity and encouragement around the impact they can have?
Sure. So, I feel like it's a space where it's pretty unlimited, the possibilities. I think if you are looking for a certain type of project, you'll probably find it. Yeah. So if you want to find a project that has heart, that has soul, that has meaning, that is worth more than just a flip, that exists. Two of them are sitting in front of you. I would highly recommend checking them out. Also, I think NFTs and Web3 for me, it's literally Web3. It's the third internet. So anything's there. It's just a platform to build upon, and you want to follow leadership that's building right, building thoughtfully, building long term. Do not follow somebody who hasn't got a vision for like post Easter. Like that's an insane thing to do. So don't get caught up in the hustle and bustle. Don't get caught up in the what's tomorrow, when this, when that, whatever. Yeah, the FOMO. Do not get caught up in it. Really stay your course. Believe in the projects you believe in. Buy what you can afford to lose always with anything in investing. And when you buy into a project that has a bigger idea than just financial reward, when you buy in with the intention of winning that way, of taking the most out of the opportunity, of being a part of the community, of learning. There's so much to gain from all of these projects. Like we build so many things into these projects to make sure that they are like full of, experience and quality learning. So please get involved. And also, if you buy, please look at your portfolio and see if there's room for a social impact project, because I think people really buy a lot of projects that they kind of know, I bought 4 this week and only one is really going to succeed, and they're okay to write off the other 3. But if you're okay to write off those 3, buy a social impact one in the middle of there. Like make sure you're having that impact, because we can literally revolutionize philanthropy here. Like the two of us are sitting here telling you, we'll hold your hand and walk you through it. Like we can do it. We can take our experience. We can help everybody build a world that is utilizing the tools of Web3 to make a lot of people's lives better. We just need support. We need backing. We need people who are there for a little bit longer than the 3-second flip. So please check out Honey Badgers, check out Women Rise. We're here.
All right. Thank you both so much for being here. You've both been in very high demand, and yeah, of course.
Sorry, I just want to add like one little thing. I agree with everything Gina said. I do want to emphasize on the fact that NFTs and Web3 is not just for artists or for musicians or for creatives. It's for everyone. With the job increase, I swear if it falls on me, it's racist.
I'll block it.
With the job increase opportunities, with like all of these things happening, you will find your place in it. Also, you do not need to invest a dime to be a part of this space. Do not like fall into that pressure. Oh my God, I don't know how to make a wallet. I don't know cryptocurrency. Just come into Twitter, come into Discord. You will find your tribe. And like Gina said, like there's so many people in this space. You just have to say, I'm new here. People will like
literally suffocate you with hugs. Like, I swear, like they're just wonderful people, and Melissa is one of them as well. Like, she's amazing. So be a part of her, Twitter. Be a part of Gina's Twitter. Be a part of our Discord. Like, there's so many resources waiting for you. And you need to do it on your own terms. So I do want to emphasize that you don't need to invest anything if you don't want to.
Just come check it out. Thank you so much. This was like definitely one of the highlights of my day. Thank you for coming all the way from Australia, Gina. And 4
problem.
days after you minted your collection.
No worries.
And
Had to
Maliha,
come
you've
rep
been
the
in
brand
very
badges.
high demand lately. Thank you for stopping by. I'm so glad that you got to meet IRL, and we're so inspired by you both. So thank you very much.
Thank you.